What if I told you getting protein as a vegan could actually be effortless? After years of vegan eating, I've learned it truly can be. You just need to know the right tricks. So in this video, I'm gonna show you 7 super easy and surprisingly tasty protein hacks every vegan needs to know. All right, but first, imagine you're driving to a destination and you stop by a gas station. You have no idea how much gas you need, you're just randomly filling up, not paying attention to your gas tank at all, and when you take off, you start to worry, did I put in enough gas? It makes no sense, right? Well, that's what a lot of people do today with protein. And that's why you've got people just pounding tons and tons of protein when they really have no idea how much protein they're actually getting or even need. And I can guarantee that if you've never properly tracked what you're eating, you're probably also way off in terms of how much protein you're getting. So the recommended daily allowance of protein is 0.8 grams per kilogram, which means the average man needs about 55 grams of protein a day and the average woman needs about 45 grams. Now remember, that's an average, so it can vary. For example, I'm more active. I love going to the gym and I weigh about 145 pounds or 65 kilos. So for me, around 100 to 110 grams of protein a day keeps my energy high and helps me maximize my strength gains. So with that in mind, let's get into the hacks to make worrying about protein a thing of the past. So this next hack is a game changer for anyone worried about getting enough protein on a vegan diet. It can get you 50% of your minimum daily protein instantly. It's incredibly easy to include as part of your daily routine, and it tastes great. The trick here is using vegan protein powder. And these days there are all sorts of different blends of plant proteins and different flavors. Each scoop comes in usually around 20 to 30 grams of protein, and so even just doing 3 to 4 scoops throughout the week can cover almost 30% of your weekly protein needs before counting any other food. And I know vegan protein powders have a reputation of not tasting quite as good, but in my 5 years of being vegan, I've never really had one that didn't taste just as good as the non-vegan ones I used to have. Except for the Trader Joe's one, but that was just a gross concoction. I remember buying that before I was vegan and thought, never again. Now, if you want to get protein from food-based sources rather than a supplement, this next hack is for you. Personally, I use protein powder mostly when I'm in a calorie deficit and need to be more vigilant with protein. But otherwise, I prefer getting my protein from food. So for someone like me, this next hack is perfect. And if every vegan knew it, protein worries would vanish overnight. As a matter of fact, it can make adding 10 to 20 grams of protein a day, which is about 20 to 40% of your daily requirement, as easy as getting your morning cup of coffee. And actually, coffee is exactly what I'm talking about. You see, a dairy milk latte has around 10 grams of protein. The problem is that an oat milk latte, for example, only has about 4 grams, and an almond milk latte, only 1. So we're missing out on a precious protein opportunity. And this is probably just a personal problem, but there's nothing worse than walking into a coffee shop and only having these 2 options. LA, I'm looking at you. Because they're completely ignoring 2 incredible plant milks that match dairy milk's protein punch. The first plant milk I'm talking about is the OG plant milk, who, frankly, y'all been disrespecting. Of course, I'm talking about soy milk. Soy has about 10 grams of protein in a latte, which is 20% of your protein goals. Get 2 lattes in a day and bam, you've already covered 40% of your protein goals. Soy gets a bad rap, but according to Harvard School of Public Health, soy is a nutrient-dense source of protein that can safely be consumed several times a week, and probably more often, and is likely to provide health benefits. Also, most brands these days taste really good. So if you didn't like soy milk in the past, try another 2-3 brands because I think you'll probably find one that you like the taste of. Other plant milk is pea milk, which also packs around 10 grams of protein per latte. And again, if you have 2 a day, that's 40% of your daily protein right there. In Europe, you're more likely to find it in coffee shops, but in the US, it's in a lot of grocery stores with brands like Ripple. So swap almond milk and oat milk for these 2, and let's get influencers drinking soy again. This next hack is so much protein, I think it's probably overkill, but y'all came for protein hacks, so that's what I'm gonna deliver. There's a plant-based food that literally has more protein per calorie than chicken breast, one of the golden pillars of bodybuilding, while also having such a meaty texture, you might even think you're eating chicken breast. All you have to do is eat seitan. Don't say it, don't say it, don't say it, don't say it. Hail Satan! Seitan is a wheat-based food that's popular in China for mock meats. It's got 21 grams of protein in 100 grams, which is 42% of your daily needs right there. You can sometimes find seitan pre-made in grocery stores or specialty stores, but you can always just order Vital Wheat gluten and make your own. And if you use an Instant Pot, it takes maybe 5 minutes of actual work. But if you're gluten-free, this recipe might just kill you since it's straight gluten. So the next hack will be perfect for you. And it's also not your everyday protein. Are you worried that going vegan might limit your protein options? I actually found the opposite to be true. Since switching to a plant-based diet, I've discovered delicious protein sources I didn't even know existed. One of my favorites is a protein powerhouse from Indonesia. Just one cup packs a whopping 31 grams of protein. That's over 60% of your daily needs. It has a unique nutty flavor and a hearty texture unlike anything else I've ever tried. It's called tempeh, a fermented soybean cake that's becoming easier and easier to find in grocery stores or specialty stores, or even online if you're stuck. Tempeh can be enjoyed in chunks, strips, or crumbled into dishes. You can even use it to make vegan bacon. Not convincing vegan bacon, but it still tastes good. Do you hate being told over and over and over again to eat beans, chickpeas, lentils, or tofu for protein? I've been there. I've done it. But there's another incredible protein source that often flies under the radar. It's delicious, versatile, and packs an impressive 17 grams of protein per cup. That's about 35% of your daily requirement. Plus, it's loaded with fiber, giving you digestion-friendly benefits that might be just as important as hitting your protein goals. I'm talking about edamame. These vibrant green beans are perfect, tossed into salads, stirred into pasta, or simply enjoyed as a tasty snack. You can even buy them pre-shelled and frozen, making them super convenient. Quick note, edamame is soy-based, so keep that in mind if you have a soy allergy. Don't die on us. But Danish, it's not convenient to calculate all my foods a day. And I agree. For most people, tracking every gram of protein is about as fun as watching paint dry. But lucky for you, I found a much simpler solution. One that works for 99% of people. Instead of obsessively counting protein grams at every meal, just follow this easy rule. Make sure to have at least one genuinely high protein food in 2 of your daily meals. If you do that consistently, you'll effortlessly smash your protein goals without ever opening up MyFitnessPal, even though you should be using Chronometer. But hold up. What exactly counts as a high protein food? Unfortunately, a lot of people, especially new vegans, still get this totally wrong. So here's your official Danish approved cheat sheet. So you got your legumes, you got your soy products, you got seitan, you got protein powder, and you got your nuts, seeds, and oats. And here's what does not count, no matter what those overpriced LA restaurants try to sell you. Eggplant, mushrooms, broccoli, cauliflower. So yeah, not understanding what are good sources of protein is one of the biggest mistakes new vegans make. And the reason they get confused, one, is dumb, misleading Instagram posts. But 2, because these foods tend to have a lot of their calories come from protein. So yeah, at first glance, they look like they're really good for protein until you realize how much of them you'd have to eat for any significant amount of it. Now, even if you follow everything we've covered so far, there's still one crucial hack left. In fact, it might be the most important one of all, because without this final step, you could do everything else right and still fall short of your protein goals. So here's the truth. There's really just one hack to rule them all when it comes to hitting your protein goals on a vegan diet. And if you follow this one, it makes the rest of them a lot less critical. The fact of the matter is, basically all plant foods have protein. For example, a serving of sweet potato has around 4 grams of protein. A bowl of pasta can easily have 7 or 8 grams depending on the serving size. So the simplest hack ever is just making sure you're eating enough calories each day. Yep, that's it. It's really that easy. And it's not just me saying this. Nutritionists agree. Protein deficiency is essentially unheard of in developed countries. In fact, experts say we're eating too much protein. The real nutritional deficiency we face isn't protein at all. It's fiber. Fiber is the nutrient we should really be chasing, and that's found abundantly in legumes and whole grains, which conveniently are also fantastic protein sources. So when you focus on those foods, you're getting both protein and fiber at the same time. And that also applies to a lesser extent to nuts and seeds. But I will leave you all with one more bonus high protein hack for those of y'all who feel better eating a bit more protein. And this is my favorite hack. Do you ever crave just a simple creamy pasta and can't be bothered to think of what protein you're gonna top it with? Well, there's a trick around that, and you can make the sauce itself the high protein portion of that meal. And you don't lose any of the creaminess or flavor. That way you keep it simple, healthy, and high protein. The trick is you use tofu to make the sauce, but not just any tofu. There's a special tofu called soft tofu or silken tofu that's almost like a custard out of the box, and it makes the smoothest, creamiest base for any sauce. Just throw it in the blender with spices, and you can make a creamy Alfredo sauce in minutes, for example. If you can't find soft tofu in your regular grocery store, the Asian stores usually will have it. And it's worth making the trip out because you'll be able to make some incredibly simple and delicious dishes with it. Now that you've got all the hacks, putting them all together into meals is the next challenge to make sure you're cruising past your protein goals. So check out this video next to see the easiest way you can get a ton of vegan protein every day.